If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel and another sewing tutorial. This one is extra special as it is the Pin It Up pattern's very first pattern, the debut pattern that Anna of Galaxy Customs and myself have been working on for the past year. Yes, we have started our own pattern design or bag design business, and we are so happy to share this one with you. Are you ready for it? Introducing the Up and Away handbag by Pin It Up Patterns. Now, our vision is vintage, retro, modern. And I think that we nailed it with this bag. Let me show you some of the amazing features of this bag. So you can see she is a medium-sized bag. She has these really great decorative overlays on the front that also act as our connectors. On the back, there's another overlay with a generous zipper pocket on the back. My favorite thing about this, there's Coco saying hi, is the zipper. Look how far the zipper goes down and around with this decorative zipper band. Not hard to do. And it makes it so we can open up this medium bag nice and big and wide to get to your contents on the inside. It is awesome. Another thing it features, and there's full instructions for this with two strap lengths, is the handles, and they have a decorative kind of accent faux piping type feature on there. On the inside, we have a slip pocket. Now in the pattern, we have two ways of doing the slip pocket. We share them both with you. There's the traditional way where you sew up the middle to create two. In this tutorial, I show you how to do this one that has a snap. So it can be a large slip pocket. You could do it up to contain those things. And if you wanted to have two slip pockets with something bigger like your phone, they would fit in, and it works as two pockets that way. So that is a lot of fun to do. What else? This is an adventurous beginner pattern. It is not hard. It is a really unique construction that I'm super excited to share with you. What else? What else? I'm just so proud of us. I'm not going to lie. So this one I have made in Galaxy Customs pearl vinyls. Keep in mind, pearl vinyls only come in 12-inch widths, and you need to have at least 15 inches for our main panels for this. I was lucky because I asked Anna to cut me a slightly larger piece. She happened to have the green bean, emerald green, the green bean, see, it's named after me, green bean, vintage pearl. Where she could cut it a little bit bigger. So if you want to do it in the pearls, please do reach out to her first to see if it is possible to do that. It isn't always possible, as she does cut everything and put it on the shelf, but if she has rolls, maybe she'll do it for you. All my accents were in the obsidian black pearl vinyl. A normal 12-inch roll was fine for that. My lining I got from Dress Sew. All my hardware is from Emmeline Bags. My zippers and zipper pulls are from Blue Calla. Interfacing in this bag, it's sew foam. I use the Pretty and Pink sew foam from Galaxy Customs. All my cotton pieces are lined with Fuse Lite, which is a medium woven interfacing by Emmeline Bags. Decovil Heavy as my firm stabilizer on the bottom. And besides that, that is all you need. Minimal hardware in this bag. And again, an adventurous beginner. It is not a hard bag to make. And I walk you through every step of the way. Anyways, I really do hope you guys love this as much as we do. Yeah, I loves it. I love it. So there are many options. I hope you enjoy this tutorial. Make sure you join our bag makers group on Facebook. That is linked down below. Our business page is linked down below. We want to see all of your up and aways and your versions of how you make them. We just are so excited to see everybody's makes of this bag. So please do join our Facebook group to share that. Anyways, I'm super nervous. I really do hope you guys enjoy this. Anna and I are so happy to be presenting this to you. And yeah, how about we get to making this bag? So you're going to need some number 5 zipper tape,
4 rectangular rings, 4 number 5 zipper pulls, 4 strap ends, 5 purse feet, your nameplate, some rivets, small and medium, double-sided tape, your 2 zipper band pieces, your 2 handle pieces, along with the handle accent pieces, your slip pocket overlay, your front overlay, your back overlay, your lining zipper pocket overlay, your 2 lining and 2 exterior main panels, your bottom lining and exterior pieces. Your bottom has the Decovil Heavy outside of the seam allowances, your 2 exterior and 2 lining gusset pieces, 4 zipper pocket lining pieces, your slip pocket piece, 4 connectors, some sew-in foam, and optional Giardini Edgepaint base coat, color, and protecting gloss. And if you're doing option number 2 for your slip pocket, you will need some snaps as well. For optional edge painting, I'm going to do both sides of my slip pocket piece, my back applique, just the 2 longer sides, my lining panel pieces all the way around, my back one, the longer sides, of course, with the 2 with the zippers within the zipper square. I'm going to use 3 coats of base coat, 1 or 2 coats of color, and 1 coat of protecting gloss. Right, so putting your purse feet on, you're going to punch out the holes where the placement for the purse feet are. And on the back side of our exterior piece, we're first going to find our top and bottom centers and our short side centers just by putting some marks or little snips. Then we're going to put our pattern piece along the wrong side of our base piece and mark with a pen the places we are going to put our 5 purse feet. Go ahead and install your purse feet as per manufacturer's instructions. I do have a class on how to do that down below. Once that's done, I like to put some duct tape on the back of the prongs for extra stability. Now we're going to work on our handles. So we're going to start with our accent pieces. We're going to take some double-sided tape along one long edge of our handle accent pieces. And then we are going to fold these in half, matching up the long sides of our pieces like so, using the tape to stick them down. Once that's done, go ahead and repeat with the other accent piece. Now for our handle pieces, you have your center line at the 2-inch mark drawn in. We're going to take some double-sided tape and place it along the long sides of our handle. Next, we're going to start with one side and stick that long side down into that center line like so. Once that side's done, you're going to go ahead and repeat with the opposite side. Now we're going to do some markings on one long side of this piece on the wrong side. We're going to measure in 2.5 inches and make a mark, and then 3 inches from the side and make a mark. You'll do the same on the opposite side. And this is where we're going to know where to veer off our handle accent piece. Just like so. Now we want to measure up from that same edge we did the markings on, 1/8 of an inch up, and make a line going all the way across from the first mark to the last mark. Next, we're going to center some 1/4 inch double-sided tape over top of that line. And this is how we're going to stick our accent piece down with. So at the inside marks there, that's where we want to start veering our edge off like so of our accent piece. And then the rest we are going to line the raw edge right up against that 1/8 of an inch line all the way across until we reach the other inside mark at that 3-inch mark. And then we will veer it up again for a 1/2 inch, and that will enclose the raw edges of our accent piece. Once that's in place, you're going to go ahead and fold the other end in, making sure you're matching up the folded edges of our main handle piece. So our accent piece will be taller. You just want to make sure that, like, my gray pieces here are lining up together, because when we go to top stitch this, we want to be sure that we are catching the top and the bottom side of this handle. Once that's all in place, we're going to go ahead and we are going to top stitch along here with an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance and also along the folded side. So you're not top stitching the accent piece, you're top stitching through the main handle piece, and this is going to secure that accent piece in place. Have both handles done, you can go ahead and you can put on your strap ends. Make sure that they are mirrored to one another so they will go on your bag properly to make sure the right side of the strap ends are there. Now we're going to work on our foam. So this is a handy little trick. You're going to go ahead and you're going to cut your foam about 1/4 to a 1/2 inch larger than your gusset pieces here, just like so. And this is going to help us. It'll be a handy trick to show you how we are going to reduce the bulk within there. So we're going to go ahead and do that with our bottom pieces and our 2 gusset pieces. And then we're going to baste these on with an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance using our pattern pieces as our guide. You will also do the same with your exterior main pieces, but on the top, you're going to have the foam nice and flush with the top, but the rest of it, again, will be 1/4 to a 1/2 inch larger than the pattern piece. Now on these exterior main pieces, we also want to make a mark 5/8 of an inch down from the top corners. So when we go to baste this on, we are not going to baste along that top line and past those 5/8 of an inch lines. You're going to start at the 5/8 of an inch line and work your way around, just like you see I've done here. Now what we're going to do along that top edge, we are going to measure down 3/8 of an inch and draw a line. on the back of our foam. So this is a guide for where we're going to cut the foam away from our top panel. This is why we didn't stitch all the way to the top. So now you're going to take your scissors and you're going to glide them along that line for our foam. Make sure you're not cutting the main exterior all the way across that line. Next, you're going to see this kind of flops around here. You don't have to do this. It will be caught in the stitching later on, but I just like to use some double-sided tape on the other side in between the foam and the main panel just to keep my foam in place for now. Okay, so now we're going to trim our foam up. So this is a handy little trick here. So you'll see with that excess foam here, it gives us quite a bit to grab onto, so you can pull it nice and tight against the stitching, put your scissors at a 45-degree angle, and slide it along that foam, cutting as close as you can to the exterior or to that stitching without cutting the exterior piece all the way around. You can already see how much thinner it is along there compared to being untrimmed. You'll go ahead and do that with all of your pieces. Next, we're going to work on our connectors. We should have already drawn our center line. We're going to take some double-sided tape here, and we're going to fold two of the edges into that center like so. On the wrong side, we're going to put a small piece of double-sided tape along one of the short edges. Grab a rectangular ring, slide it on like so, and then put this around the rectangular ring, wrong sides together, just like this. Next, you're going to go ahead and from that raw edge, you're going to measure up 1/2 inch and draw a line with your erasable pen. You will go ahead and do the same with the other 3 connectors. So there they are, all done. Now on the back side, so the side that does not have your mark on it, we're going to put another little piece of double-sided tape on the bottom of our connectors. Set those aside for now. Grab your front applique, and you're going to see on the pattern piece we have these little cutouts here. I'm just going to kind of cut along those lines of my pattern piece, just the 2 short sides, and then I'm going to fold this down like so. And this is going to help us with our placement of our connectors. So with the wrong side of our front overlay up, we're going to draw, as per the pattern, our connector placement. Next, we're going to take 2 of our connectors, take off that double-sided tape, and we're going to line it up. And you'll see that 1/2 inch line should line up with the top of our overlay, like so. Next, we're going to take some double-sided tape and place it along the 2 longer sides of our overlay. Now you're going to keep this double-sided tape within past 1/8 of an inch along the edge. That way, if your machine is sensitive to double-sided tape, you're keeping it outside of our top stitching line, which will be at 1/8 of an inch. So go ahead and put the tape along both of the long edges like so. Next, we're going to take one of our main panel pieces and we want to find the top and bottom centers just by folding it out in half and doing our snips like so. And then we're going to measure down 4.5 inches. You could also use the pattern piece for placement if you wanted to. I like to use my ruler so I get it nice and straight. And then what we're going to do is we're going to just take off the top side of the backing of our tape and we're going to line it up along that line. So again, I'm going to use my ruler. I also drew a line, and where it should line up is the top side of our overlay. So our connectors will go above that 4.5 inch line, but our connectors shouldn't. Press that down. Once you like that placement, go ahead and stick down the bottom side as well. Now we're going to go ahead and top stitch this in place with an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance along the 2 long sides. That's our top overlay done. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put rivets right here. I'm going to use, actually I'm using large size rivets because my materials are a little bit heavy. We also have a placement line for your nameplate or handmade label. You can place that wherever you like, but this is our suggested area. I have also backed the back of my rivets with pieces of Decovil Heavy for extra security. Now we're going to do the exact same process with our back overlay, exactly like we did the front. So that is it all done. Now we will work on that zipper pocket. So what we want to do is in that rectangle, I'm going to go in with my rotary cutter and just start cutting, not all the way to the end. I'm going to finish it with my scissors. You're going to go underneath the overlay and cut your V's into the main panel underneath that overlay. So you're kind of sticking your scissors in between those layers. And then flip this over to the wrong side and you're going to cut away all that excess. You are not cutting away the overlay piece, you are cutting away the foam and the main exterior piece, exposing the wrong side of your overlay piece, just like so. So you will do that all the way around as close as you can to that stitching so you can reduce that bulk when we go to apply our zipper pocket. Once that's done, you're going to go ahead and prepare your lining zipper pieces and apply this exactly like we would do if a zipper pocket with overlay. There is a class on how to do that down below in the description. I've also gone ahead and I've put in my rivets with the Decovil Heavy pieces. I've made sure my pocket is completely sewn around and that is done. Next, we are going to work on our zipper band pieces. So you want to find the long edges, top and bottom centers, and make your snips. Then we're going to take one of these with one of our exterior pieces and we're going to match up that center mark that we had on both and clip these in place. Okay, we're going to go ahead and sew across here with a 1/2 inch seam allowance and do the same with the opposite side. Once we have that stitched in place, we're going to press our zipper band up with our seam going towards the zipper band, and then we're going to top stitch that seam in place through the zipper band with an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Next, what we want to do is we want to trim that excess part right here. So we're cutting away the exterior, not the zipper band, as close as we can to that top stitching that we did within an 1/8 of an inch. This is very important so we have very little bulk when we go to top or put on our top zipper. So get as close as you can to that top stitching line without cutting away your zipper band piece on both of your front and back panels. To work on our lining panel. So I'm going to show you how to do this really fun lining slip pocket. So just like we do, we're going to fold our zip pocket or slip pocket in half, right sides together, and we're going to sew down the two sides here with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, leaving the top open. Once that is done, right at these corners here, I'm just going to cut on an angle so I can get a nice sharp corner and trim that seam allowance up to about 1/4 of an inch. Go ahead and turn this right side out, and once you have those corners poked out nice and sharp, you can go ahead and give this a good press. Now we're going to take our slip pocket band here, and I've marked a halfway mark. We're going to put some double-sided tape on both of the long edges. And then we're going to bring that raw edge of our slip pocket and we're going to line it up with that center line, just like so. Press it down, and then you're going to bring the other edge of our slip pocket accent piece and fold it over top, making sure that the two vinyl pieces do line up. And where our slip pocket cotton piece is, we're going to make sure we backstitch really good there and top stitch to the other side with 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, just like so. You can go ahead and trim off that excess, again making sure that the back stitching is where the cotton pieces began. Now we're going to find the center of this piece. I believe it was about 4.5 inches, and we're going to mark it, make a little mark where we want to put our snap based on how big your snap head is. Kind of figure out where you want to put the snap so it will look good. So mine is going to go right here, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to install the female side of my snap right there as per the manufacturer's instructions. So that is done, it's all stable. Now we're going to measure up from the bottom of our pattern piece here, nice and centered, 2.5 inches. Line up your slip pocket like so. And I'm going to kind of use a pen that is erasable. I'm going to draw on the snap piece here, and then I'm going to press down really hard on the fabric, and it's going to leave a little mark that you can't necessarily see, but it has, and that is going to be the placement for the male side of my snap, which I'm also going to back with a scrap of Decovil Heavy on the post and install as per manufacturer's instructions. So that is it. Go ahead and snap this in place. Put your ruler along the bottom, make sure it's nice and straight, and then use some pins to hold this in place. Now we're going to go ahead and we are going to top stitch this in place along the 3 sides here, here, and here, making sure back stitch at the top and bottom, as well as I'm going to install some rivets like I have done here. So there we go, we got a snap and a pocket that works. Next, you're going to go ahead and do your lining zipper pocket in the exact same way we did the front or the back pocket here, but you will be top stitching the short sides. Make sure you leave your bottom open for turning later. There is a class down in the description how to do this if you need it. Okay, so that is all done. Now we're going to do some marking. So on our exterior main panels in the bottom left and right corner, we're going to draw little 3/8 of an inch squares like so. So that is on one. Do the same on the opposite one, as well as on the 4 corners of the bottom and the 2 bottom corners of each of the gusset pieces. We're going to do similar on the exteriors, but these ones we are doing 3/4 of an inch squares in the exact same places we did for the exterior. Now we're going to work on our zipper. You do not need to have your zipper pulls on your zipper tape just yet. Find the center of your zipper tape and make small marks with your chalk or erasable pen within the seam allowance on the center of the right side of our zipper tape. Next, flip it over, and on the wrong side, 1 inch from each end, you're going to draw a line. And that is going to help us put our zipper pulls on nice and straight later on. Okay, now we're going to take I'm going to take my back lining piece, and I'm going to put some double-sided tape along the top edge like so. So this piece is right side up. Next, we're going to take our zipper tape, also right side up. You can also use clips here if you prefer. So both of these are right side up. Match up that center line and line this up along that top. Now our zipper tape will be longer. That is what we want for ease of putting on our zipper pulls later on. Next, we're going to take our lining piece, or our exterior piece, my back exterior. I'm going to put some double-sided tape along the top of this. Again, you can use clips if you prefer. And then we're going to take this piece and we're going to put it right sides together with our lining and zipper panel, matching up the center. You can also take away the second half of that zipper tape if you want, so just the part that's stuck on, and go ahead and stick this on. It should go on nice and even and straight. Make sure you're not stretching your zipper too much. Once you have that on, we are going to take this to the machine and we are going to sew this on with a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Now this is where I recommend that you put on your zipper foot to ensure we get a nice and even seam for a nice and even zipper. So go ahead and sew along here with a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Once that's done, you want to press your lining and your exterior pieces wrong sides together, pulling it nice and tight away from the zipper, and then we're going to top stitch through here with an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. That is our backside done. She looks great. You're going to do the exact same thing with your front lining, front back panels, and the other half of the zipper tape. Now, once you have them done, you can see I put my pulls on. I lined up those 1-inch lines, which if done properly, my zipper should be perfectly straight. Our pulls should go on perfectly, and they do. Okay, so now we're going to work on our gusset pieces. So our exterior gusset piece, the part that we do not have the marks on, we want to line that up right sides together with our exterior. Now here it's very important you make sure you are not catching your lining pieces in there. So you're going to hold your lining pieces kind of up and out of the way to avoid sewing through them. We need the lining pieces and the exterior pieces to be able to work freely upon each another. So we're going to go 3/8 of an inch just to where the zipper tape is, and then jump over to the other side and do the same thing. So again, 3/8 of an inch, we're going to go along here with 3/8. And then when we get to just about where the zipper tape begins, we're going to backstitch, making sure not to sew through that lining piece. Cut your thread and hop over to the opposite side. Put your needle down, making sure you are not sewing through the lining, so about where the zipper tape goes, and then another 3/8 of an inch, just like so. Now you can also go ahead and trim off the zipper tails like so. And you can see here, we kind of have a gap where the zipper tape is. Now what we want to do, still make sure the lining is out of the way, make sure that seam is pointing down towards the gusset, and we're going to top stitch to just past our first top stitch line, because again, you don't want to be sewing through the exterior or the lining pieces for this. So once again, I'm actually going to switch out of my zipper foot and into my standard foot just because it'll give me a little more control. And again, we want to sew to just about where the zipper tape begins without sewing through that lining piece. So we are going to top stitch like so. Again, our seam is going towards the gusset. So to approximately where it was, back stitch good, or tie your threads off, whatever you prefer. Jump over to the other side to about where the zipper tape begins without sewing through the lining, and top stitch the rest of the way. So this will leave a hole in the center where nothing is top stitched, but we will take care of that momentarily. So as you can see, you can stick your finger in here. That is exactly what we want. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our gusset piece, our lining gusset piece, and we're going to do the exact same thing. So take the top of the gusset piece, line it up nicely along just the lining pieces. You're not going to catch the exterior pieces. And we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to hold the exterior out of the way, so across here with 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, break our thread and go through the other side and do the exact same thing. Now you may find you will need, when you go to do the opposite side, a hump jumper. I didn't need it, but have one handy just in case. Top stitch that hole shut. So we still got that hole there. Our things are free of each other, which is what we want. So now we're going to bring our two gusset pieces wrong sides together, and we're just going to top stitch that opening that we had not sewn the exterior top stitching. So you are top stitching now just through the center part of that lining panel, and this is going to close up that hole just like so. Make sure you don't go all the way to the edges because we need the sides of our gusset to be free of the exterior of our gusset. So this is what that looks like. You'll see it doesn't go all the way to the edge, it's just closing up the hole, and we can still work freely of each other. Go ahead and do the opposite side the exact same way. Okay, so this is what that looks like. So again, make sure your lining pieces can all be free of the outside of our exterior pieces. Undo your zipper, and now it's time for final construction. So make sure your lining pieces are out of the way. You don't want to sew through them. We're going to match up the bottom corner of our main and our gusset pieces like so. And we are going to pinch right here, clip it in place, evenly distributing that fabric all the way down that edge. Once we have that all in place, what we want to do is we're going to sew this with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, like so. We're going to start at that 3/8 box. You're not going to go past that 3/8 box and sew all the way to the top, back stitching well with 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Now it's very important you don't go past that 3/8 of an inch box because we need the bottoms of our bag to be free of each other so we can attach the bottom. So again, start at that 3/8 line, so all the way up with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. And then when you get to the top, go ahead and backstitch all the way through like so. So this is what that looks like. You're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing. See, our bottoms are free of each other. That's what we want. Do the exact same thing with the other 3 exterior sides. So our exterior is all together. Now, this is what that looks like. I'm just double checking that my corners are nice and sharp, and they are. Now you're going to kind of do the exact same thing with your lining, making sure you're not catching your exterior pieces. It is so much easier to do the lining second. That's why we're doing it, because it's a little, you can kind of manipulate it a little bit more. So just like we did with our exterior, you're going to bring your lining panels together down all 4 of those sides. But we're going to do our stitching slightly different because we don't want our bag or our lining to be too baggy within the inside of the bag. We're going to make the lining slightly smaller. So at the top, we're going to start right here at the top with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. And then when we get about a third of the way down around here, we're going to branch out to a 3/4 of an inch seam allowance, not going past that 3/4 of an inch box at the bottom of the lining. Again, that'll be for attaching on the base. So again, starting at 3/8 of an inch seam allowance at the very top, about a third or so of the way down, you're going to branch out to a 3/4 of an inch seam allowance. Back stitching well once you reach that 3/4 of an inch box at the bottom without going past that 3/4 of an inch box. So this is all four sides on. We kind of look like we're a blooming flower here. That is okay. Now we want to make it so our lining does not fall into the bag. So those pinched corners at the top of those seams of our lining and our exteriors, we're going to just kind of put some clips here, and we're just going to sew within the seam allowance on all four corners, the lining and the exterior seams together with a 1 inch at about an eighth of an inch or quarter of an inch or so within the seam allowances. You don't want to go past the seam allowances. And again, this is going to keep it so the lining does not fall into the bag. It holds the top corners of those in place. So go ahead and do that. You're so close to done. So you can see that's holding those four corners together. Now we're going to do our bottom. So you're going to take your exterior bottom along one long side, put these right sides together, measuring or matching up the center. And this is where you're going to see why we wanted the bottom corners to be free of each other, because you can line that up really, really good, like so. And then what we're going to do is take this to the machine. We're going to start at that 3/8 of an inch box again. So all the way across and stop at the 3/8, making sure you backstitch at your start and stop really well. We've done it right because our lines for the side and the bottom seam should line up nice and perpendicular to each other. We can do the exact same thing with the other long side. Again, all of my seams or my stitching is matching up. And then you can go ahead and do the exact same thing with the two short sides, going from stitch mark to stitch mark. So again, you know you've done it right when all of the stitch marks on the sides and the bottom all match up in a nice perpendicular corner to make sure there are no holes in those bottoms. So once again, double check all of our stitches match up, and they do. Now we want to trim the bulk out of these corners. You're going to take these Y seams and kind of hold them flat and cut on a corner without cutting the stitching. This is just going to remove some of those bulk corners and give us a really, really pretty corner when we turn it out. So go ahead, put your hand in there and just make sure there's no holes. And now we're going to do our lining bottom. So we are only going to attach one side of our lining bottom so we have easy turning. So we're going to attach our lining bottom nice and centered, so mark your center marks. And we're going to put it on the side that has your slip pocket. You want it the opposite side of your zipper pocket. Match up that center. And just like we did with the exterior, we're going to sew from the 3/4 of an inch box. Backstitch really well when you start, all the way to the other side of a 3/4 of an inch box. And make sure your stitching all matches up. And do not worry about the other three sides for now. So once that's on, it all looks good, go ahead and turn your bag right side out through the full opening in the bottom of the bag. Make sure you reach in through the opening in the bottom to poke out those 4 top corners that have magically created the shape of this bag. Make sure all your seams are good. Push the lining in like so. Make sure everything looks good, and if it does, we can go ahead and we can close up those turning holes once you're satisfied with it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to open up that zipper pocket. We're going to pull out that zipper pocket lining that has the opening in the bottom, reach on in there and pull out the full bottom of the bag, like so, of the lining. Now we already have one side of the lining attached, which makes this a lot easier for our lining bottom. What you're going to do now is find the center and match up that second alongside of our lining bottom. And so from 3/4 of an inch box to 3/4 of an inch box again for that side. So that's our 2 long sides done. You can go ahead and do the 2 short sides as well. Once again, making sure our stitches are matching up so we have no holes in the bottom. You can see now the bottom is done. Go ahead, stuff that back in through that zipper pocket. Look how great that looks in the bottom. Nice and tight lining and no holes. Now for a zipper pocket, fold in the raw edges by about 3/8 of an inch. Clip it in place. And then you can go ahead and top stitch this final opening shut. This is that done. Stuff that in. Massage out all of your seams. Make sure your lining is tucked in really nice. And then all that's left to do is put on the handles. Once you've riveted on your handles, take a look at all the wonderful work you've done. Your up and away bag looks absolutely amazing. Give yourself a great pat on the back. Awesome work. Just turned out beautiful. And then we're done.
All right, that's it. That's all. How did you guys like that unique construction? It's a little bit different than most bags out there, isn't it? It comes together so fast. This is an adventurous beginner pattern. So I do truly hope you love this. If you want this pattern, it is down in the description. Go ahead and buy it. While you're there, it's for sale on the Galaxy Customs website. You can also, at the same time of checkout, you can get some vinyls, some of her beautiful vinyls, because they are primarily what I use. Yeah. Make sure you join our Facebook group so you can post your beautiful up and aways. We want to see how you can make these your own. I want to see all of the up and aways. So make sure you post in that group. Go ahead and join. That's linked down below. Make sure you follow our business page. That is also linked down below. And I don't know what else to say about this. I guess if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. If you'd like to support my channel further, you can always buy me a coffee. That's linked down below. Also, check out the membership side of my channel. There may be something there that sparks your interest as well. Anyways, thank you everybody for all your support. I hope you love this bag, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.